දකුණු ආසියාවේ ලොකුම කැමරා මාකට් එක එක්ක ෂොප් එකට නැත්නම් වෙබ් එකට cameralk.com.
Sri Lankans around the globe.
මගේ travel with Chatura ගමනේ මම තවත් අද විශේෂ කෙනෙක් හම්බෙනවා. කැනඩාවට ඇවිල්ලා ජීවිතය සාර්ථක කරගත්ත ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයෙක්. ශ්‍රී ලාංකික දමිළ ව්‍යාපාරිකයෙක්. එහෙම කිව්වට කමක් නැහැ. මොකද එක එක විදිහට ඔයගොල්ලෝ බෙදලානේ කොහොමද බලන්නේ. හැබැයි ඉතින් කියන්නේ මම බෙදනවා කියලානේ. ඒක ඉතින් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඇවිල්ලා බලන්න ඕන. මට ඕන කරන්නේ ඇත්තටම මේක මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? මේගොල්ලෝ කොහොමද දිනුනේ? මේක කොහොමද ලංකාවට මේ අය එක්කන් යන්න පුළුවන්ද? මේ අයට වීසා එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? මේ අයගේ ditthwa පුරවැසිභාවය ඉක්මන් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඒකෙන් අපි කියවන වෙනුවට මොන හරි දෙයක් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා බලන්න. මේ කතාව අහන්න වෙනවා. එහෙම අහලා ඒගොල්ලෝ එන්න කැමතිද එන්න කැමති නැත්තම් ඇයි අපිට මේ දේවල් අහන්න නැතුව මේ ගමන යන්න බෑ. විෂ්ණු ක්‍රිෂ්ණ රාජා and the partner මේ දෙන්නගේ බිස්නස් එකේ ඉතින් මේගොල්ලෝ මෙහි ලොක්කොටම ව්‍යාපාර කරන කට්ටිය ඉතින් මේගොල්ලන්ගේ කා කලෙක්ෂන් එක මට පෙන්නන්නේ මේගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ මේගොල්ලන්ට ඉන්නවනම් ලංකාවෙත් මේ වගේ ඉන්න ඕන කියලා කරලා. ඉතින් ඒගොල්ලෝ කැමතියි හැබැයි ලංකාවට එන්න. මං කිව්වා ඉතින් ලංකාවේ අපේ ඩිලන්ත මාලගමුව වගේ හම්බුනා නම් මේ වගේ කාස් ටිකක් බරාගෙන කතා කරගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. ඉතින් අපි කතා කරලා අහමු මේගොල්ලන් අතර මේගොල්ලෝ තා මොනවද බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන දේවල් කියලා. Krish, how many cars do you have? Your Lambos and all together?
Bit over 25 cars. You see the Lamborghinis and the exotics in here, but I'm also into bit of vintage like Europeans that from the 90s. You know, like particularly special and limited editions. People don't really know them, but they're really like gems.
What's your dream car?
My dream car is right there, the Lamborghini Performante. In 2008, and I have the highest amount of kilometers on this in the world on a Lamborghini. I also drove across Canada from east to west within 5 days.
5 years?
Yes, it's about 10,000 kilometers. And it's unbreakable, and you know, Lamborghini, people imagine it as a fancy car just to drive around to go get coffee and ice cream. This one you can off-road it, and I do it all the time.
විෂ්ණු ක්‍රිෂ්ණ රාජාගේ හෙලිකොප්ටර් එක තමයි මේක. මම හිතන්නේ ගොඩක් අපි සෙක්ෂන් ඒවියේෂන් එකත් එක්ක බෙල් එකත් එක්ක සිංගප්පූර් ඉන්න වෙලාවේදී කතා කළා. ඉතින් මේ ප්‍රයිවට් හෙලිකොප්ටර්ස් කොහොමද ඔපරේට් කරන්නේ ලංකාවේ ගන්නව නම් කොහොමද කියලා. මේදී විෂ්ණු අරන් තියෙන එක. What are the protocols in here?
Protocols, it's just the weather here in North America to watch out for. For example, today beautiful weather to fly up, but the ceiling is too low, so we can't get up. So those are the things to watch for. But other than that, I mean, planes and choppers are the same.
So same scenario applied for the twin?
Yeah, same scenario. It just really depends if you are flying VFR or IFR, right? Visual or instrumental. So today, if you go instrument, yes, you can go up, not a problem. But for us to do a city tour, for example, you want to see, you want to be visual, not in the clouds. So that's the problem. But other than that,
ஒரு ஸ்ரீலங்கன் கனடாவில் எப்படி சக்ஸஸ்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கிறது பார்க்க என்னக்க சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு. ඒක කියන්නේ නෑනේ මේ වගේ ලාංකිකයෙක් දකින්න සතුටු නැද්ද අතර මං කියන්නේ මං ඔක්කොම අදහස් ඉපම මෙහෙම ජීවත් වෙනවා දකින්න කොච්චර දෙයක්ද. ඉතින් මේම ආයෙත් මේද අපි එක්කගෙන එන්න ඕන ලංකාවට එන්න කියලා කරලා. No? Absolutely. Thank you. යන ගමන් කතා කරමු මොකද මගේ වෙලාව නැහැ තියෙන තත්ත්වෙත් එක්ක මට කතා කරගන්න තියෙන ඔක්කොම කතා කරන්න වෙන්නේ වාහනේ තමයි තියෙන වෙලාව උඩරින් ප්‍රයෝජන ගන්න ඕන. So what business are you in Canada?
In Canada, I have a fintech company. We do real-time transactions with principal partners with MasterCard and Visa. That's what we do. And down south in South America, I'm into mining, gold and diamonds, and some other rare earth minerals.
So the APT business, so it's not good for the small economy, right? So it's
APT is actually good for all economies. It digitizes governments and their systems. For example, down in Guyana and some other South American countries, we are integrating the government's transactions. So we're digitizing their whole ecosystem. So it is good for small and large economies, and even better for small economies because of the digitation and the controls that it enables to have on the financial transactions.
In which year you left in Sri Lanka?
During the war, this 2008, end of 8. Yeah. I came here when I was 19.
19?
Yeah.
So did you went to school in Jaffna?
Not really. Elementary, yes, and after that, during the war, my parents tried to keep me safe, and most of the time spent at home in the compound. Those memories aren't the prettiest to talk about. Let's just leave it. It all belongs to the past. Let it rest. I came here and had a few jobs here and there, and then I realized in Canada, the opportunities are amazing, and the ecosystem that the government has created here is amazing to execute your ideas. And any idea you have, it's really easy to start stuff. So I started with a small scrap metal business, actually exporting metals, and then from there on grew one by one. And APT, I've been building it for the last 5 years, and here we are.
Have you been back to Sri Lanka since you left?
No, haven't been.
You haven't?
Yeah.
Why?
Never thought about going back. It's just the reason why we left Sri Lanka. It's just like, I don't know, it might have changed now. I hope it did, and it does, but never thought about it before. But in the recent years, things have been, I've been following the news and what's happening, and especially the outreach the government does here in Canada has opened my eyes to Sri Lanka and what a beautiful country it is. We go on vacation here down south to the Caribbean, and we actually come from such a beautiful country down south and up country and all that. And I've learned about these things just on TV now, on social media. And when I was in Sri Lanka, I never knew that we had all these things. Like, just spent most of the time in the north, and that's it.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
You never been down south?
Never.
Oh my God. So, can you imagine coming back to Sri Lanka and invest?
I will come down for sure to look around, and I am actually looking forward to bring some of the industries I'm in here down to Sri Lanka and establish it down there. But the only thing is, we've all left for some reasons because of insecurities and stuff like that. And I've been following how the Sri Lankan government now has, promised to the UN and stuff that they will create, securities and safety for all Sri Lankans.
What infrastructure do you believe has to be created for new industries? So new industries established in Sri Lanka?
I believe once the securities that are created and rule of law is established for all Sri Lankans to come back, and we're happy to come back and build up the country and investing. And if that happens, Sri Lanka doesn't need the IMF. Just the economical strength and the financial strength that would come with all the Sri Lankans that are living outside of Sri Lanka, coming back to Sri Lanka will catapult Sri Lanka exponentially, in terms of its economical power.
So what kind of infrastructure you need to start the business in there?
Depends what business, but it's a good question. For example, in Canada, any industry you want to get in, the platform is there to start any industry. But for example, Sri Lanka, the shipping lanes, the strategical positioning of Sri Lanka itself, its ports, it's been for centuries a desired island internationally, right? But apart from that, we have agriculture, but let's say especially now the tech world, to have foreign companies even, right, to come to Sri Lanka to establish themselves, this platform has to be created in terms of accelerated business creation, the networks, you name it. Like, I guess the Sri Lankan authorities have to create that nourishing platform to the suitable platform for the new industries to come in. Because of this strategical location of shipping, all other industries that we have anywhere in the world can be established in Sri Lanka.
Do you think Sri Lankan diaspora can invest and settle the big money in there? Do they have big money in here, the businessmen?
It's a good question. Yes, they do.
How do you know?
There's so much money here. Just in my circle of very close friends that are Sri Lankans, there's immense financial strength. But I believe their eyes have to be open like mine was open, and shown that it is safe to go back to your motherland and rebuild your motherland. If we can do all this here in foreign countries, imagine the things we could do in our own country. It's just the experience and why we all left. The reasons for that, they've disappeared, yes, but assurance has to be there, so it's safe for us to come back and establish and invest. But definitely there's so much financial strength out here in the diaspora, just resting.
In what way is the High Commission encouraging the diaspora to come back to Sri Lanka and invest?
For example, when I tell you, my eyes were opened and, shown that Sri Lanka is actually safe now and to go back, it's thanks to His Excellency Harsha Navratna. Right before I met him, I would have never imagined I would walk into a Sri Lankan embassy. It's just like, there's no hostility. It's just like, you don't even think about it. It's just like, yeah, it's no. But he is very approachable and he reaches out to the diaspora and does great work, especially to educate the youth like me to go back and rebuild our motherland.
Hi Glee, as a partner, are you happy to come and invest Sri Lanka?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I have full faith in my partner and I'd follow him anywhere around the world.
So I didn't ask you, what is the purpose of life?
Me personally, it's about leaving a legacy behind.
So what motives in your life?
Achieving things that hasn't been done before. That's what motivates me.
The Tamil செல்வார்த்தை சொல்லுங்க.
Tamil. Okay. நாங்க தமிழர். But இலங்கை தமிழர். இலங்கை தமிழர் ரீதியில நாங்க எல்லாரும் Sri Lankans தான். It is important that we have to change direction. Yes, we had war. It's all done now, right? The thing is, imagine if I nurture this hate that the previous generation has into my kids. They're 6 and 7. By the time my kid is 17, 18, he's gonna come fight your kid. Yeah. And this will carry on for generations of generations. It's about time that we turn around and try and manage to live together.
මම හිතන්නේ ඉතින් මෙහෙම හිතනවා නම් ඉතින් මොකක් හරි තැනකින් මේක නවතින්න ඕන. ඉතින් එහෙම නැවතුනේ නැත්නම් ඇත්තටම කියනවා වගේ අපිට ගමනක් නැහැ කියන එක තමයි කියන්න තියෙන්නේ.
චූටි කැකුලා මලු පොජ්ජේ මක්කේයි
මලු පොජ්ජේ පැණි පොජ්ජේ
ෆොටෝ පොජ්ජක් ගමුද එහෙනම් දුනු පොජ්ජත් එක්ක පොරෝ පොජ්ජත් එක්ක
ඔය රූප දෙන පතාරින යමකේ කොයි බින්ද මන්ද කරගත්තේ ඔය කැමරා පොජ්ජ කොයි බින්ද මන්ද කරේ කැමරාල්ගේ පේනව නේද කැමරාල්ගේ කියපු ගමන් එයත් සතුටුයි ඔයත් සතුටුයි අකුණු ආසියාවේ ලොකුම කැමරා මාකට් එක එක්ක ෂොප් එකට නැත්නම් වෙබ් එකට cameraLK.com